you. Beautiful.
Sorry, I
That's
forgot
right.
to record, so you're gonna have to start over.
I'm gonna get. And you can well imagine that this poem is a comfort to Judy to this day. There's something she shared that's recorded and something that's embedded not only in their relationship, but in the natural elements, in the geese, in the trees, in everything that she describes in the poem. And then we have one by Matthew Friday, who's a local teacher. He teaches third grade, I believe. And it's a short little poem, but just lovely. And you'll see it doesn't have a human perspective, but another one. Is there anyone who would read that little poem for us? Yes, please. Sure.
The red-tailed hawk flies a tugged line over the pines that rig the riverside, along a taste of cracked toppy rocks. Oddly slow, the hawk as if fighting a tide. Bucket wings, but the strings are invisible. Behind the river groans. There's a plan to build 250 houses against the cliffs. Trees to be cleared, paths suffocated. The hawk's clawed opinions ignored.
Thank you. Isn't that just a marvelous last line?
Yeah.
The hawk's clawed opinions ignored. So we go about our business taking care of ourselves and too often not paying attention to the creatures we're affecting. And then Roderick Eaton, another local poet who's won awards. She's incredible. Fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. She's won national awards in all three genres. And she's way younger than I am. She's just amazing. Is there anyone who'd like to read this little poem for us? No volunteers? Okay, yes, please.
Unnamed. Ask me my name and I might tell you to turn toward the leaves. Listen to their husk and mumble. Stand over the plunge of the river. Lose yourself in the slick fear crawling down your limbs, or pull at the throaty sounds. Hold between stone and root under a log that once stood straight. And mighty sweeping the sky, hear the hush and push of lifting wing, the vanishing miracle of flight. Carved by an arrow of starlings, find a word for filtered light, sifting through capillary petals. Capture the sound of unsettled wind, carding the sinews of dried grasses. Try to describe the way darkness curves its somber path around the moon. Whatever you call the least of these, this is what you may call me too.
Thank you. Beautiful job. And for those of you who are biblical students, you recognize the biblical allusion there. I love the humility in this poem and in much of her work. Nature, the skies, the earth, waters are the most prominent beings. And the person in the poem is there to observe and learn. Given the time, I'm just going to read one. There are several. You can read them at home. I'm just reading the first one of these little poems from a collection. I live in Southeast Bend, not too far from the Central Oregon Canal. And I have taken it upon myself to sort of walk the canal as often as I can and notice what I can. And so I've written this, actually now this whole collection of poems. Each one has been individually published, but I need a publisher for the whole collection. So I'm looking for that. This is called Waves. Berries drop from the juniper overhead, roll to a stop along the canal where geese touch down. A fluttering of waves. I marvel how the birds traverse the rapids, rest in shoreline eddies, swim out again. Upstream they navigate lilies deep pink and languid white, opening in the sun's embrace, closing on evening shadows. These sleek pads seem to float, stems hidden beneath the green. I once paddled among such hardy flowers on Silver Lake, canoe gliding slick as a whistle, my father would say. He taught me to heft the boat, carry it to the sandy landing, push off, one foot already inside the ballast. Generations of ducks have claimed these waters, habitat threatened by rising temps, glacier melt, running out. The old river that feeds this canal dwindles with our greedy waves, our carbon compulsion, our oblivion to the needs of whirring dragonflies, stout toads, house sparrows, silver salmon. The sand has baked the razor clams on northern beaches. There won't be even one batch to fry up with cornmeal and butter. There won't be an evening picnic with driftwood bonfire for s'mores, fires forbidden, the landscape laden with burns already mid-July. Firefighters spent after 15-hour shifts in the trenches, trying to restrain the towering flames, contain prodigious embers. They deserve a dip in this floating calm, this throwback to a wetter clime, no end to the cool supply of water, trout, geese, their fuzzy goslings hugging the shore. So thank you. And again, I tried to not just celebrate the beauty of what I experienced, but offer a warning. We need to be mindful what we're doing, or we won't have this canal or the river. So at home, you can read the rest of these. And if you turn over to page 9, there's some writing prompts here. I'm going to give you 8 minutes. That's actually quite a lot. Some poets only give you 4 or 5. You're going to have 8. And I want you to write either a draft poem, part of a poem, or a paragraph. If you do prose, that's totally fine. Choose any one of these 4. The first one has to do with a plant or tree of interest to you. Second one has to do with a wild animal of interest. The third one is a body of water. It could be an ocean or, a little trickle in your backyard. And then the fourth one has to do with a handful of dirt. Is it sandy? Is it rocky? Is it compost? What is it? So write for 8 minutes as soon as I say go. And then we will have volunteers. You're not required to share, but if there's anyone who would like to share what they've written in this 8 minutes, that would be great. And you also, if you would prefer, can just talk to us about what it was like to do the writing inspired by some piece of nature. Okay, ready, set, go. Part about Lanny. You want to turn it back on? Okay. The hardest part is having people stop once you've got their imaginations going, and the impulse is to just let them go. But I want to hear some of what you've been doing. If there's anyone who's comfortable reading or sharing an image, yes,
I did the dirt one.
good.
Thought I was gonna do the ocean, but then the dirt surprised me. Kneel to touch the earth. The dirt there connects to all the other dirt. Each step is upon a limitless path to anywhere, to everywhere. It just goes on. It's so big. Whereas am I really here? So fleeting, my time on this patch of dirt. But if the dirt is connected to everything else, maybe so am I.
Oh, marvelous, marvelous. Really deeply reflective, and that's one of the first times I've had someone choose dirt when I've given, so I'm especially pleased. There've been several hands up. Let's go right here.
The county is killing 21 trees on my road. Most are ponderosa pine.
Don't put your hand in front of your mouth.
Most
please.
ponderosa pine here long before I was born. Probably longer than any human life. The tree roots are interfering with the smoothness of the road, making it buckle, so uncomfortable for passengers in a car. Is it the trees' fault that the drunk driver can't see them and mars their pristine bark? Trees can't move except with permission from the wind. No matter that they house birds and squirrels and light, in their shade they provide comfort and oxygen to breathe. What will happen when there are no more trees?
Ooh, thank you. I love that line. Is it the tree's fault? You know, I mean, that just really goes deep, you know. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes, Sally.
It's not very long.
Kate?
At least I chose the water.
Hmm?
The ice cold water gurgles over the rocks. Ice crystals coat the dead grasses along the shore. And Ermine, his coat white like the snow, quenches his thirst from a frosty rock in the shallows. In the warm sun, a clump of snow falls an often overhanging branch and joins the rushing stream onward to a destination unknown.
Ooh, thank you. Do you have a title for it yet?
What?
Do you have a title for it yet?
Oh,
Not yet.
No.
And I will come soften. The last thing I'll do, get right to you. It's one of the last things I do, because often in writing a poem, we don't know where we're going till we get there. So it's often the mistake to start with a title. So I'm glad you waited, and I love the Irwin and what you do with them. Dana, you want to
Yeah.
read yours?
Yeah. It's called Killing Zone. The road is a killing zone in the wilderness. Cars and trucks make the wildlife pay their toll in blood, especially in the night with blinding lights that freeze their prey in that trap of paralytic fear that denies escape. There are other hunters too who come with learned intent, and not by mere accident to the killing ground. They've learned to lie in wait and let the machines kill for them, and then they drag the meat and bones of the out of the path of the trucks and cars, or simply fly down with open talons and snatch the carrion from the road and fly home with it to feed their young.
Ooh.
So
I'm so glad you shared your experience coming here. It's like, you know, that was already vivid, and then what you did with it, the killing zone,
yeah, the killing zone.
killing zone.
And I guess the thing about it is that a road through the wilderness is a killing zone.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, the fact that animals use the road to hunt, not what they hunt, but what's killed for them by machines.
Mhm.
It's such a weird conceit, you know, that you can't, it's somehow it's jarring, but it's a natural thing. I just don't know how to deal with it. That's all.
Yeah, indeed. Ted, yes,
I offer mine because it meshes with the last.
okay.
It's called Fledge. The tangle of brush and twigs form a nursery, a platform high, and the tallest juniper on the hillside. A launch before the warm updrafts, and the smorgasbord of rodents on the springtime pasture below. One, then two little white heads, bald and hungry raptors, Then a third hatchling, tossle in the twisted branches and tough. Mother and father in flight, a conveyor belt of juicy varmints for hungry babies with sharp beaks and the knowledge of killing and eating and jostling for space to spread their darkening wings. I am shocked to find one on the ground defending its space. 2 weeks later, I see 5 raptors in flight, learning to hunt.
Wow, very nice. I don't know if you have a title yet for that.
Pledge.
Okay, okay. When I hit the word knowledge, I thought, ooh, what if this piece were called knowledge and we have to discover the knowledge that is in the poem and also that the varmints are discovering in their young lives. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Yes. I chose number 1, so I just called mine Ponderosa Pine. I see you near daily, within hidden walls, you provide for me something I couldn't. You give me warmth in deep frigid weather. I used to hug you until one day I learned you get defensive to it. I tried to climb up you until bark went in my eyes. You didn't concern yourself. You remained firm when I didn't. I thank you for showing me your resilience.
Into it, me climbing. Out on the farm, we had no neighbors, I mean, several miles away maybe, but. So you couldn't play baseball, the things kids do when they grow up on blocks. I didn't know what a block was, but I could climb trees. That really takes me there. Thank you. So, thank you all, those of you who read pieces and also those of you who shared your poem. I want to, they're just fabulous, wonderful surprises in every one. I want to take a few minutes to talk about what you can do with your nature writing. So if you look at page 10, this is a list of magazines that regularly publish nature writing. So if you want to know where to submit your work or other work you have that has a natural bent, here's my recommended list. And you will notice that I have starred several. Terrain, Orion, Canary, those are especially competitive. So if you don't have a lot of experience, I wouldn't start there, start with the others. And also I left one out. You might add this to your list. Wildness, that's the name of it. Wildness, WILDNESS. It's published in Britain and it's also competitive. So you may want to put a little star, like, work up to that magazine. And then it's nature is a popular topic and it doesn't have to go to one of these magazines. I have published nature poems in literally dozens of magazines, not on this list, because editors like nature poems. So don't be afraid to send it somewhere else, but these are just some targeted places where they'll appreciate the content. And often, if you're writing about an unusual organism, like we had ponderosa pine trees, we had waterways, we had different things. If you're writing about an unusual animal or creature, editors will probably be especially interested. I had a poem taken by Canary about 1.5 years ago, and it was about crabs that died that were washing up on the beach. She said, Carol, I've never had a crab poem, So she was really intrigued. And she was willing to work with me on it. Again, it's a highly competitive place. And so she made several suggestions or worked with me and I revised it. And she took wonderful care of that poem because she wanted a crab poem. So if you have an unusual organism or being or plant you probably have just a little higher chance of getting it accepted. Also multidisciplinary magazines will publish nature poetry, so don't overlook those. Uh, Journal of the American Medical Association has published several of my poems. And one is about my grandfather, who happened to be a country doctor and who grew roses. They were his pride and joy. And that poem is in JAMA. So it doesn't have to be a literary magazine. Think about places where people read, and maybe a poem, even if they've never published poems before, maybe they'll be interested. There's trying to think of the name of it, there's a Journal of Oregon Birds, and I sent a poem to them and they took it. Same day I sent it. I couldn't believe it. It's never happened before or since. But they had never published a poem before and they were so intrigued with this poem. It was about my folks bird watching, trying to figure out what the name of this bird was. And they thought their readers would like it, so they put a poem in it. So I've got my contact information if you want to be in touch, if you want to, share the draft of what you wrote. I'll give you a few comments if you like. And a phone number where you can leave a message. It's not my cell phone because I only answer when I know who's calling on the cell phone because of, identity theft issues. But if we're in touch, you can let me know what your cell is, and then I can put yours in my system, and then I'll know who you are. And we can safely communicate that way. And then we have a few minutes before 7. If you want to come peruse these wonderful anthologies, fine. And my first full-length book, Calling in the Bones, if you buy any of the others, I'll give you one for free today. So I brought a bunch of those in case, if you want to pay for one, I'll just charge you what I paid for them, which was $5. So, and then the others, drawing lessons, those of you, that if you're into art, visual artists, this is a collection of poems about drawing things that have personal significance. And Pansies is the first book in English about the Apostolic Lutheran community. They're a group that forbids birth control. And when my daughter was a toddler, I hired a young apostolic woman as a babysitter. And the book is a documentation of the eroding of my prejudices about the community she came from. She turned out to be an exquisite second mother for my child, extraordinarily creative, sympathetic, sensitive to the fact that Sarah was growing up in a culture different from her own, and she honored that. One day she came with ballet slippers that she'd gotten at a secondhand store. In her culture, dance is forbidden. But she knew Sarah loved to dance, and she brought her these little, so I mean, it just turned my whole sense of that community upside down. And then the most recent book is Reading Wind. I was gifted with an incredible set of parents, and these are mostly poems honoring my father, who went to medical school and became a doctor like his father, practiced in a very small town, would take fish from the Columbia River for payment from patients who often couldn't afford to pay medical bills. But we had this farm, so he grew almost everything we ate except beef. We would have to get that at the store. I remember how surprised I was one day when I found out that hamburger came from an animal. I was aghast. I thought just what I knew, Mom went to Safeway to get it. But I thought it just came that way. So, at any rate, he also was a musician, and co-founded a symphony in Southwest Washington because he wanted a place to play. And was a horn man originally, played baritone and trombone. And he said he got tired of counting rests, so he switched to cello. And when he died at 94, he was still second chair cellist in the symphony. He found it. So really an amazing man. I'm grateful to have known him. And these poems are really in honor of him. And nature is throughout my work, given where I came from, where I grew up, and what I came to love. I have a good friend. I'll tell you one more story and I'll let you go. He and his wife have a condo in New York City, and he keeps inviting me to come see all the shows and stuff. And Kyle, I'd rather go camping. So I haven't been to New York with him, even though he's got a place for me to stay if I get there. And I'm still a better cook over an open fire than I am in my own kitchen. Anyway, thank you very much. You've been a wonderful.
Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you all for coming, and thank you to those of you online who have come. There are snacks in the back here. There are fellow writers to chat with. Stick around, enjoy. Check out Carol's books and her other books, and talk with her and talk with each other.
Wonderful.
We'll see you next time.
And should you want to purchase anything, I did bring some change. You can also mail me a check, no problem, if you don't have many with you and want one of them. So we'll figure it out. What's that?
What's a check?